Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches GITTEN Daf Yud Daled. We are holding on the 11th line from the top of the Amud. Amalei Rav. So Rav turns to the Rav Acha Bardel, and he tells him like this: Kaba, a certain measure, an amount, a kav, of demarika, a certain type of spice. Isli gabach, you know that I deposited this spice with you, right? You have it for me. You know what? Instead of returning it to me, please transfer it to somebody else. Yahave leplini, please give it to such and such person. And that person was actually here. And Rav continues, Ba'apei ka'aminalach. And actually, I'm telling you this, I'm giving you these instructions in front of that recipient, in front of that other person, Deloy hadranabi, so that I shouldn't change my mind. I shouldn't go back on my word. I'm doing it in front of him. This way it's a real commitment, and I'm not going to dare change my mind. Says the Gemara Michlal, it would appear, it sounds like the Iboy Hadarbe, if he should wish to backtrack and cancel the gift, Matzi Hadarbe, he can do so. I'm doing this so that I shouldn't go back on my word. But apparently, if he should want to go back on his word, he can do so. The question is, how could he do that? Haven't we learned in the name of Rav yesterday that when one gives a gift in this manner, b'ma'amad shloshtan, in the presence of all three, the giver, the receiver, and the middleman, that amounts to a firm commitment and is considered like a kinyan. Takanas chachamim, it's considered totally given. You can't go back on it. So why did Rav indicate otherwise? I'm doing this to show a real commitment. This way I won't go back on my word. You can't go back on your word. It's given. It's as good as done. Hachi kamar. Exactly, that's what he said. Since I've instructed you in the presence of that mikabel, I cannot go back on my word because he's kaina in this manner. Well, ha'amar Rav chadazimna. Rav already taught us this halacha once before. Damar v'namar Rav, monadli biyadcha. Right, there's money that you owe me, money that I have by you. Please transfer it to the other person, to Levi. If it's done in the presence of all three people, you're kaina. And that's a halacha that we already know from before. Why the repetition? If only from that statement of Rav, Havamina, perhaps I would say. When do we need to do it in the presence of that mikabel? That's only a matana ruba, like a mana, large amount of money. So all three need to be present. That it's a firm commitment, that it's a kinyan. Aval matana mo'etas. But in this case, which is an insignificant amount, a kav of spices. No, loy leboy b'fanav. Perhaps in this case, in order for this gift to take hold, to happen, to be committal, perhaps you don't need b'fanav of the mikabel. Kamashmon, the chiddush is no. Even in this case, it only works if all three people are present. The giver, the intended receiver, and the middleman who's in possession of the material. Hanu Ginoi, we have a story of a couple of gardeners who would grow their crops by leasing land from the landowner, and they would jointly grow these crops and share the profits. Hanu Ginoi, Da'avid Chushbana, they sit down at the end of the season, they make their calculations. Pash Chamesh Istri Zuzi. It turns out that there were an extra 5 of these coins, Gabichad Minayu, in the possession of one of these partners. So what does he do with the extra money? Amrlay, they tell him, look, instead of divvying it, we owe, rent to the landlord, to the Baal HaKarka, please give it to the Baal HaKarka. Yavinuni alay, Lamari Ara. And this was said bi'api mori'ara, in the presence of the landowner. Not only that, v'kanu minei, they made a kinyan with this person. They switched handkerchiefs, made a kinyan suda, which committed him even more than just the fact that they instructed him. He made a kinyan that he's going to give the money to the landowner on behalf of them all. That's what they thought. L'saif, ultimately, azal avad chushbana, this individual sat down again to recalculate the numbers. Bein dilei lenafshe, in private. He sat down to make his own calculations. It turns out he had nothing extra. He was in error. It wasn't really extra money. He discovered that there is no extra money. Also, came to Rav Nachman. So he came to Rav Nachman. Look, I promised to give the money. I made a kinyan, but there's no money to give. There's nothing extra. Amar lei. Says Rav Nachman to this fellow, Mai i'abid lach. What could I do? I can't help you. Chada, because number one, the Amar Amar Rav. We know that Rav tells us that when you're committed to do something in the presence of all three people, it's a firm commitment. You can't just cancel it. V'oid, more than that. How kanu minach? Didn't they make a kinyan? That's even more committing. Amalei Rav. So Rav responds to Rav Nachman. How is that relevant to this case? It was a mistake in numbers. It was a miscalculation. Atu hai. Is it so that this person, Mika Amar Le'Yavinu, is he saying, I'm not giving, I'm refusing to pay? The Leka Gabai Ka Amar, he's simply saying, look, there is no extra money. It was a mistake. Amalei, if that's the case, says Rav Nachman, Im Kain Kinyan B'Toz, so you're right. It's a mistaken transaction. In this case, you can certainly go back and cancel. It was a mistake to begin with. Itma, we have learned. Reuben tells Shimon, look, take this mana, this amount of money, deliver it to Shimon, because it's money I owe him. I borrowed money from him. Amarav, you should know that if something happens, if a mishap occurs, if the money goes missing while in the possession of the shliach, the sender is still responsible for it. Why? Because it's still in the realm, in the domain of the sender. The Baal Chayv, the intended recipient, never asked for it to be sent this way, so he's not responsible. The sender is still responsible. But, here's the catch. Should the sender want to cancel and change his mind and retrieve his money from the shliach, too late. You can't do that. Because the shliach took possession of this money on behalf of the intended recipient. He's like zeicha for him. You can't just take it back. Too late. So we sort of split it. On the one hand, the sender is still responsible for the well-being of this money. On the other hand, he can't take it back. It's not really his anymore. Ushmol Amar, no. Look, either or. And since we say that he's still responsible for that money, the sender is, in Balachs or Chayzer, likewise, if he chooses to retract and to cancel the mission, he can do that. He can take back his money. It's fully his. So what's the machlekes about? Lema, perhaps we can say, the machlekes is about the following question. He sent the money with the shliach. He said, Hoylech mana leplane. He didn't say zechei, make it kinyan. He says, take it deliver it to that person. So the question is, how do we treat the lashen hoylech? Is it just, I'm giving you a job, bring it to that person, or is it more than that? Take hold, take possession for that person, like a zechia, in which case I can't take it back. The Maris of our hoylech kischidami. Rav holds that hoylech is like saying zechi, be zechi for him. Zach and the other shloi b'fanav, take it for him. When it's by you, it's almost like by him, and therefore I can't take it back from you. Umar savar hoylech lav kischidami, and Shmuel disagrees. Just because I said hoylech mana leplani, it never left my possession. It's not like zechi, and therefore I can take it back. Is that so? How the machlekes revolves around this question? Loi, perhaps not. The kuli alma, hoylech kischidami. Perhaps everybody equates the word hoylech with zechi. V'hacha, But Kamiflik in the Machlekes in this case revolves around the following question. Mar Savar Lo Yamrinan Migu. Rav does not hold of the Migu Svara. Just because I'm Chai B'Achrayis does not give me the right to go back and to take it back. We could sort of split it. On the one hand, I'm still responsible. On the other hand, Hoylech is Keschi. Right? So, everybody considers Hoylech L'Eschi. And therefore, Rav says, the Shliach is holding on to it on behalf of the Malva, on behalf of the Balchai, on behalf of the intended recipient. Hoylech is Keschi. But at the same time, that person didn't really ask for this money to be sent in this fashion, in this method. Therefore, the sender who chose to deliver it via this shliach is still responsible. Umar Savar Amrinan Migu, Rashmo says, look, either or. If you're considering the sender to be still responsible, then he has a right to take it back. It's still by him. You can't split the two things. Tanya Kavasei de Rav. We're going to bring a right to Rav's shita, that we do split. He is Chai B'Achrayis, but he cannot take it back. The Brisa says, Hoylech mana lepleni shani chayev loy. Deliver this money to my creditor. Tein mana lepleni shani chayev loy. Or he uses the word tein. Or he's speaking about a deposit. Hoylech mana lepleni pekadosh yesh lebiyad. Please take this money, bring it to the depositor. He deposited this money by me, please return it to him. Or he uses the word tein. Tein mana lepleni, which is a pekadon sheyesh lebiyad, a pekadon which he entrusted me with. In all these, Chai B'Achrayusoi, the sender is still responsible if something happens on the way, but he cannot retract. He can't change his mind. So this would be a raya to Rav, that we split the two things. Asks the Gemara, how can you say that if I send the pikadon back with the shliach, I can't go back on it and take it back? Pikadon leimalei, the sender can tell the shliach, look, I have a right to take it back from you. Ein ritzonei. I know that the depositor had no interest that his item should be in the possession of somebody else. So basically, it just occurred to me that I have no business sending his expensive pen with you, so I want it back. Omer Abzera was speaking about a special case. This sender, this mishalech, this nifkad, this person who was initially entrusted with this item, was a flat-out denier. Basically, it turns out that he had denied possession, that he has possession of this item. The owner had already confronted him in the past, and he denied even having this item in his possession. So the owner is more than happy that he relinquished his hold of that item, sent it with anybody. So there's basically an implied consent that the owner wants this item to be in the hands of the shliach instead of in the hands of the sender, and therefore the sender cannot take it back. Says the Gemara, Rav Sheshes apparently dealt with coats. Havali Ashrata de Sarbali. Sarbali had these coats, and he had some credit owed to him on account of some of his coats that were purchased by some customers in the town of Mechayza. So he was owed money. So he discovers that Rav Yosef Racham is traveling to Mechayza. He says, do me a favor. Bahadi de Asas. On your way back, please bring me back collect the money for me. So Rav Yosef arrived at Mechayza. He collected the money. So they gave him the money. But they told him, look, one condition. Nikni minach. We want to make a kinyan with you that you commit to take full responsibility on these funds. If anything happens on the way back, you're responsible. Okay. Amar Lu in, he says, okay, sure, we'll make a kinyan. L'soif, it turns out ishtamit Lu. He just wiggled out of it, and he left town without making the kinyan, without committing to them. So when he returned to Rav Sheshes, and he told him the whole story, that they asked him, they pressured him to make the kinyan, which wasn't really right of them, because he's not a party to the cause. He's just doing a favor and bringing the money, relaying it from the customer to the seller. So he refused to make the kinyan, and he told Rav Sheshes the whole back and forth. Amar later, Rav Sheshes gave him a haskama, shaper avdas, well done, you did well. The lishavius nafshach eved loy v'lishmalva. You avoided becoming an eved, so to speak, to the lender. That's the lashon of the pasuk in Mishlei. You borrow, you're an eved to the lender. Why should you? You had a right to just to avoid committing yourself. You didn't owe them anything. Why should you commit to achrayis on the money? Lishn achrin, another version of the actual response of Rav Sheshes. Shaper avdis, you did well. Why? Because it's their responsibility. They owe me the money. They're the eved loy v'lishmalva. No reason why you had to put yourself in the fray and take responsibility. Rav Achi, Rav Esha, Havali is Paka de Kaspa. Rav Achi had a kli, a vessel of kaspa, a silver vessel, banarda, which had been deposited by some people in the town of Naharda. He wanted it back. And he found somebody traveling there, Amar Lu. So he told two people, L'Rav Destoi Rav Yanai, and also L'Rav Yosef Bar Kippur. You're going to Naharda, please, do me a favor. Retrieve my pikadon. Bahadid asis. On your way back, I saw Ne'eli, please bring it back to me. Azul, Yavani Alayu. So they went to the town, and in fact, they were given the vessel. Amri Lu, so the individuals who were responsible, who were in possession, told the shluchim, you know what, niknu minaychu, let us make a kinyan with you. Basically, commit yourself to the achrayis, to the well-being of these of this item. In case something happens on the way back, you will be responsible. Okay? Amri lahu loy. So they refused. Why should we take responsibility? Amri lahu, so the people responded to them. Okay, so let us have it back. Give it back to us. Adrei ni'alon, we want it back. Rabbi Destoi, Rabbi Yanai. So one of these two chacham, Rabbi Destoi, Amri lahu, he said, in, sure, okay, no problem. You have a right to take it back. I'll give it back to you. I agree. You have a valid claim. We're not committing to the achrayis, so you have a right to take it back. Rabbi Yosef Bar Kippur refused. Amr Lulay, nothing doing. We're giving it back to the owner. We're not responsible. So the locals were giving him a very hard time, applying lots of pressure on him to return the kli. Amr. So the individuals told the other person who was Rabbi Destoi Rabbi Yanai, who had sort of taken their side. Chazi Mar, do you see Hechi Ka'avid, what your partner is doing? Rabbi Yossi is not cooperating with us. Amar Lucy responded, Tavra Malay. Yeah, it's good. He's deserving of these klep, of these makis, of this of the pressure that you're applying to him. Keep on hitting him. Basically, he was sort of really siding with them. At the end of the day, they skipped town. Apparently, they didn't get their the people didn't get their way. They took the kli, and they went back to the owner, to Rabbi Achi Rabbi Yeshe. When they returned to Rabbi Achi, Amalei Rabbi Yeshe was now complaining about Rabbi Achi. Amalei Chazi Mar, master, meaning the Rebbe. Do you see what he did to me? Loy mistaya, not enough. Not only the loy yuseyan, that he didn't support me and help me out in my struggle with them. Ella Amarlu, he even encouraged them. He spurred them on. Amarlu Nami Tav Ramalei, keep on hitting him. What kind of business is that? I was in the right. I had no reason to commit to achrayus. So why did my partner not only disagree with me, but he supported the adversaries? Amalei Sir Achi, in fact, asked Rabbi Destoi, why'd you do that? He says, look, I had no choice. I was under such pressure. It was sakanas nefashis. Those people, they're fearsome people. Hein Amma, they're huge, giant people. So Amma is They're measured with amos. They're like really extra tall people. V'koivan aman. Even their clothing are fearsome. They wear fearsome clothing. They're truly intimidating people. Umedabrim nechatziein. They speak with a deep voice, like it's coming out of their stomach. Ushmeisein uvuholen. They have these scary names. Arda, Arto, Pili, Barish. Oimrim kfaisu. All they need to do is snap their finger. They tell their, cronies, tie him up, kaifs, and they tie him up. Oimrim haroigu. They tell him, kill him, haroigu, and they kill. I wasn't going to get into trouble with those people. Ilu hergus destoy. Suppose they would have killed me. His name was destoy. They would have killed me. Mi nasan yana abba. Who would have given my father, whose name was Yanai, right? He was Rabbi Destoy Rabbi Yanai. Who would have given my father Bar Kamaisi, another son like me? So basically, it was done out of fear. Sorry. So he asked him, these people are close to the authorities. They have an inn in the royal, palace. Inn, hey. He says, sure, they're right up there. One of the bunch. So he says to him, okay, another question. Do they have horses and mules parading behind them? He says, sure. He says, oh, that's the case. These people are scary and intimidating. Keep far away. If that's the case, Shaper Avdis, I understand what you did. And you have to protect yourself, so I have no complaints against you. Says the Gemara, okay, so Reuben tells Shimon, please deliver this amount of money to Levi. V'olach, Shimon goes to Levi's town, Ubikshay, and looks for him. Doesn't find him. Rashi says, Shemeis, he came too late. The intended recipient passed away. What happens to the money? We have a machlekes tanoim. Tanichad, in one brisa, it says, Yachsru, l'mishalech, the money is returned to the sender, back to Reuven. V'tani idach, in the second brisa, it says, L'yorshei, mi shenishtal chuloi. He should continue, he should give the money to the Yorshim of Levi, the intended Mekabel. How do we explain the machlokes? Leima b'kamifliki, perhaps the machlokes can be explained like this. Our question: how do we interpret the word hoylech? The mar savar hoylech kischidami. The second Tana, who says leave the money there, because the word hoylech is like zechi. Be zeiche for that person, and since when he handed the money to Shimon the Shliach, Levi was still alive. At that point, Levi was Zeicha. So now, when he's not around, give it to the Yerushin. Whereas the first Tana holds, no. The term Hoylech isn't necessarily synonymous with the Zechi. Bring it to him, but don't be Zeicha for him. In which case, if there's no Levi to give it to, it goes back to Reuven. Is that the case? Says the Gemara, no. Perhaps both these brises will hold that hoylech is not the same as zechi. And the answer is as follows. The brisa which says, return to sender, because the sender was a healthy man. Well, if my instructions cannot be carried out, bring it back to me. The other brisa is speaking about a shchimra, a person on his deathbed, who the Rabbanan empowered. They enabled him to give matanos even without a kinyan, just by way of his saying, by way of his words, so that he doesn't get anxious and all frazzled. So to protect him, the Chacham said, don't worry, we'll carry out your instructions. In this case, even if we can't find the recipient, it doesn't matter, because when the shchimra sent the money, it is as though he made a kinyan, as though it's been granted to the recipient at that moment. So now when the delivery arrives and there's no recipient to receive it, it goes to the Yersh, because he was already zeicha from the moment of instruction. So one brayse says a bari, one brayse says a shchimra. Rav Zvid Amar haba haba shchimra. Both brayses are speaking about a shchimra, who the Rabbanan gave a special koyach Divrei shchibmara kiksuvin u'kemsurin dam. It's as though it's documented and handed over. But there's a difference. Hadi isei l'makabel b'shas matan mois. The brisa which says, keep it at the, leave it at the, Yerush of the makabel, is speaking where the makabel was alive, was around when the money was handed over by the shchibmara, and he was zoich at that moment, and now it goes to the Yerushim. But the brisa which says return to sender, the lessay like makabel b'shas matan mois, is speaking that when the shchibmara instructed Shimon to deliver to Levi, Levi was no longer around at that moment. Unbeknown to Reuben, Levi was not around anymore. He was mace. So the whole kinyan never happened, and therefore goes back to the sender. Rav Papa Amar Hava Hava Bar. You know what? Both brises are speaking about healthy people who sent their money. Ha the mis mekabel b'chayinoisen. So what happened was that the case is that the sender also passed away. Okay, that's the case according to Rav Papa. So both the Mekabel and the Noisen passed away. And the difference is like this. When do we say money is returned to sender? When the sender sent away the money, he was healthy at the time, sent away the gift, and the Mekabel passed away. Okay, so now, even if the sender passed away as well, but since he passed away after the Mekabel passed away, there's no idea of mitzvah l'kayim divrei ames, which means that we seek to fulfill the wishes of a person who passed away. It's a mitzvah to do that. But in this case, it's not applicable, because the sender passed away after the Mekabel passed away. So it happened like this. Reuven was healthy at the time, sent $100 with Shimon to deliver to Levi. Okay? En route, Levi passes away. Shimon arrives, there's no Levi to give it to. At this point, the matana is bottled. There's nobody there. So it deserves to go back to Reuven. After this happened, Reuven passes away. It doesn't matter. It should go back either to Reuven or to his Yerushim. And that's the shot in the first price. Yachshul Mashaleach. The second price, which says, leave it there, give it to the Yerushim of Levi. The mis noisen b'chayim mekabel. The sender, Reuven, died first. So he was healthy at the time. He sent away money. En route, Reuven died before the money had arrived at its destination. So now there's a halacha mitzvah l'kayim divrei ames. There's a mitzvah to fulfill his wishes, his words. And now Levi dies. It doesn't matter. We keep it going. We seek to fulfill his instructions. Rashi says that this idea of mitzvah l'kayim divrei ames is considered like a kinyan. It's a big chiddush in Rashi. So as soon as Reuven passed away, it's as though the money was already granted to Levi. And now when Levi passes away, it goes to his Yerushim, because they're Yerush from their father, who was already Zeicha in this money, even though the money had never arrived, had never gotten to Levi yet, because mitzvah l'kayim divrei ames tells us to carry it out all the way. So it's like a schus, it's like it was already given to Levi. And that's why the money stays there. It doesn't go back to Reuven's family. So, in summation, we have two brises. Reuven sent money with Shimon to give to Levi. Levi was found to be mace. What happens to the money? Goes back or stays there? How do we explain it? We have 4 ways to explain. Is it a question of hoylech keschi or not? Is one a bari, one a shchimra? Both shchimra or both bari? 4 ways to explain the brises. Says the Gemara, Leima hoylech keschi tanai. Perhaps this question of whether we treat hoylech keschi or not is machlokes tanoim. We're going to have a brisa with a whole collection of shittas a multifaceted machlekes, which perhaps revolves around this question: how to treat the word hoylech. The Sanya, hoylech mana leploni. So he sends money with the intent of it being given to Pliny. V'halach, and the shliach goes, ubiksha v'lei motzei. He arrives, he can't find him, he passed away. What happens now? Tanakama says, yachzur l'mishaleach. The money goes back to the sender. Meis mishaleach. What if the sender already passes away? By the time the shliach comes back, there's no sender. Reb Nassim, Reb Yaakov Amru, they both held, yachzur l'yoshem shaleach. Okay, give it to the sons of the mishaleach. Some say just the opposite. Give it to the family of the intended recipient. Rabbi Danasi Amar Mishum Rabbi Yaakov, She'amar who quoted Mishum Rabbi Meir, mitzvah l'kaim divrei meis. We're meant to fulfill the words of the mace. Give it to the recipient's family. Which sounds like the Shita of Yesh Aimrim. The Gemara soon will explain the differences. Here comes another Shita. The Chacham. The Chacham, Aimrim, best method is split. Split it even. Yachlaiku. Half to this family, half to the other family, since we're not sure how to deal with it. You can, over here in Bavel, Amru, others said, Kol ma sheyirtze shliach yaseh. Let's leave it up to the shliach. Let him determine what the Mishalech had in mind. Did he really like the Makabel and his children? Was he really interested in giving it to the Makabel's family? Then yes, otherwise it goes back to the Mishalech. Amar Shimon Hanasi al Yodi Hayamasa. I myself personally experienced a story as such. Money was sent, the recipient was unavailable, and Va'amru and the Chachamim said, it seems like I was a shliach for that. And I went to the Chachamim. Va'amru, and they told me, Yachzru l'yorshim shalech, it goes back to the family of the sender. So we have many, many shitas, and the Gemara suggests that perhaps my labak and the machlekes is regarding our question. Tanakama savar hoylech lav cheschi. Tanakama says there is no mikabel, give it back to the mishalech, because sending it with this loshin hoylech is not like schi. The mikabel was never zeicha, and therefore it goes back to the mishalech. Rab Nassim, Rabbi Yaakov Nami, they also hold hoylech is lav cheschi. And they go a step further. Even if the sender passed away, we don't say mitzvah l'kaim divrei meis. They disagree with this idea of mitzvah l'kaim, and therefore, even if Reuben, the sender, passes away, give it to Reuben's kids. The Yesh Amrim disagree entirely. They hold it all goes to the children of the intended recipient. Because when he said hoylech to the shliach, he meant bizaycha for him. It's already his. And subsequently, if he passes away, it goes to his kids. Rabbi Danasi Amar Mishon Rabbi Yaakov Sham Mishon Meir. What does he say? He says mitzvah l'kaim divrei meis, right? What did he mean to say? He says like this: Hoylech lav cheschi. He disagrees with the Yesh Aimrim. He says hoylech is not like schi. In theory, the word hoylech is not synonymous with schi. It's not a zachi. It's not a kinyan. Miu, but here's an exception, because the Mishalech passed away, and therefore it changes the whole equation. Miu hechat mis, but if the Mishalech passes away, another factor kicks in. Amrina mitzvah l'kaim divrei meis. There's a special halacha who want to be mekayim his words, and that's why it goes to the family of the mikabel. Only because of that, not because of hoylech keschi. You know what? The best thing is split it 50-50 between the families. They're not sure how to deal with it. Whether we say hoylech keschi, or whether we say mitzvah l'kaim divrei meis. The other sheet is shuda adif, better leave it up to the shliach. Let him evaluate what the mishleach had in mind, because there's a chance. There's even a chance of getting it right, 100%. But if you split it, you're certainly 50% wrong. So there's a benefit in each approach. Rab Shimon Hanasi, Masa Aslash Minan, he was just coming to support it with a story that in fact it goes to the Yoshim of the Mishaleach. Okay, so it would appear that the Machlekes amongst these Tanaim is actually associated with our shaila of how to treat the word hoylech. Is it like zechi or not? So the Gemara, no, not necessarily. Loi bebarik dekuli amalei pligi. If this mishalech would have been a healthy man, upon sending the money, perhaps nobody would have any disagreement. Everybody would hold, heilich, that's not l'schi. I'm just giving you sending you on a mission. I'm not being mezakeh to him. Everybody would hold, heilich is not zechi. So what's the machlekes? V'acha was speaking about a b'shchibra. Totally different type of case. And the question is how to deal with a shchibra. Does this person have extra powers or not? Ube plukta, the Rabbi Lezer Rabban Kamiflik, the machlekes, and this brisa is similar to the machlekes between Rabbi Lezer, who treats a shchibra like any other person. He doesn't get extra privileges, extra powers, as opposed to Rabban who disagree. Kamiflik, that's the machlekes in our brisa. This is not. We have the same machlekes in a mission. It's not malchalak nechaz al piv. If a person is dividing his assets during his lifetime, so instead of waiting for Yerusha, he's doing his own system. Rav Lezer Eimer, look, echad bari, echad mesukan, whether he's a fully healthy man or even a mesukan in a precarious state of health, a shchibara, doesn't matter. He's treated no differently. He has to follow the standard system. If we're speaking about karka, land, which is guaranteed assets, it can't run away. We call it nechasim sheyesh nachrais. They have to follow their procedure. Niknan bekesef, b'shtar, b'chazaka. You could do the kinyan using one of these three methods: money, document, taking hold of the property. Bottom line is, a proper kinyan is required in order for the recipient to get his portion. Or she'ela machrayis, we're speaking about things which can just disappear on you, basically metaltalin, mobile items. Ein niknel b'meshicha, there the kinyan has to be done with a meshicha, taking it into your possession. No difference if you're a bari or a person's a shchibra, a proper kinyan has to be executed. V'chachamim, I no. If you're a shchibra, chachamim gave him extra privileges. Shloite tarif daita, we don't want him to get confused and anxious and frazzled frazzled. Elu be'elu, whether it's these type of properties or other types of assets, nikin ba'amira, by mere word of mouth, just the amira of the shchibra, that carries the day. Amrloi, in fact, they brought a riot to their shita with a story. Masa be'iman, there was a story that took place with the mother Shel Bnei Roichel, of these individuals who were called Bnei, sons of Roichel, that was their father's name. She was deathly ill. V'amran, she gave away her stuff to Nasein. Ki b'nasei, my clasp, my jewelry should be given labiti to my daughter, v'hi b'shnei masar mana, worth 1,200 mana. Umeisa, she passed away, and they fulfilled her wishes. V'kimu chacham es v'rea, and they executed her instructions. Apparently, Shchiv Mara's instructions are binding. Amar lehem, Rav Lezer responded, don't bring me a riot from that story. B'nei Roichel, those individuals that Reshaim, Tikbarem Ima, their mother should bury them. Basically, they're not meant to be discussed in the Beis HaMedrash because they allowed thorns to grow in their vineyard, which according to Rav Lezer is Kilayim, and therefore Rav Lezer regarded them off the map. Nobody discusses them, nobody paid much attention to what happened with their story, and therefore it wasn't a properly investigated story, and you can't bring a riot from there. Bottom line, Rav Lezer treats a shchibara like any other person. A proper kinyan is required to transfer his assets. Chacham say, divrei shchibara keksuven k'mesiron dami, verbal instructions of a shchibara is binding. And perhaps the multiple machlekes we have in that brisa corresponds to this question. Let's go through all the shittas. So again, we're speaking that Reuven sent money with Shimon for delivery to Levi. Levi passed away. Where does the money go? Levi's children? Or back to Reuven? Or if Reuven passes away, to his children. So like this, Tanakama, who says that if Levi is no longer alive, the money goes back to Reuven when Reuven is alive. Rabbi Lezer, he goes like Rabbi Lezer. So again, the whole brayso is speaking about a shchibra. The instructions were granted by a shchibra. Still, Tanakama says there is no mekabel, give it back to the noisen, despite the fact that the noisen was a shchibra when he instructed this shlichus. Doesn't matter. It's not binding. It can go back to him if there's no recipient. Rabbi Nassan and Rabbi Yaakov, not Rabbi Eliezer. And the next shita, Rabbi Nassan and Rabbi Yaakov, they also go with Rabbi Eliezer. So even though he was alive at the time of the Amira, it doesn't matter. It's not like a Kenyan. If it turns out there is no Mekabel, it goes back to the Noisen. Va'avik of the miss. I take it a step further. Even if Reuven passed away, we don't have to carry out his wishes. We don't say that. It goes back to Reuven's children. They're the ones who said that it goes to the Yershim of Levi, of the Mekabel, Kirabbanon. They hold like the Rabbanon. The Divrei Shchimra are binding. And therefore his instructions have to be carried out. And although Levi passed away in the interim, it goes to his kids. Because it's as though Levi was already Zeicha through the Amira of the Shchimra. For Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, She'omar Meshur Meir, who says mitzvah l'kaim divrei hameis, what does he hold? Rabbi Eliezer. Theoretically, he holds that Shchimra is treated like anybody else. Miu, heicha demis, but one exception. If the Shchimra passed away, Amrina on mitzvah l'kaim divrei hameis, we do have to carry out his wishes. And therefore, we deliver it to the family of the recipient. They hold splitting the money is the best. Make a compromise. We're not sure which way to go. Do we say divrei shchimra is kiksum damri or not? They're not sure. Therefore, they go half. V'kan amru, and the other shita was should the adif leave it up to the discretion of the shliach. This way, you might actually hit the jackpot. You might actually do it right. Rabbi Shimon Nasi was just supporting with the story Masa as Ashmeinan. He was bringing a right to the shita of Rabbi Nassan and Rabbi Yaakov that in fact it goes back to the Yershim of the Mishalech. So bottom line, we have a brisa with many shitas. We thought it revolves around the question of how to deal with the word hoylech. Is it keschu or not? And the Gemara says no. Perhaps we'll speak about a shchivmar, and the question revolves around how much power does the shchivmar have? Next question: do we say mitzvah l'kaim divrei hameis? Okay, one more piece. Iboilu. So the last part of the brisa quotes Reb Shimon HaNasi. Now, as Tosha says, we're not familiar with a Nasi by the name of Reb Shimon. Iboilu, the question is like this: when we say Reb Shimon HaNasi, Nasi, who was he really a Nasi? Head of the community? Or is the brisa meant to be learned as though it's missing a word? It was Reb Shimon quoting the Nasi. It should have said Reb Shimon HaNasi Omer. That's the way the brisa should have said it. But sometimes we sort of skip a word. So was he a Nasi or was he just quoting a Nasi? Tashma, we're going to make a raya that he was a Nasi. Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef was an Amoira, who usually, explains himself very well, right? Amoraim are meant to explain themselves. Halach Reb Shimon HaNasi. We pass on Reb Shimon HaNasi. It's the fact that he relates to him like that indicates that it's a title. He was a Nasi. It still says the Gemara, it's not necessarily a raya. Perhaps he's just adopting the phraseology of the brisa. We can still ask the same question. Nasi, was he really a Nasi? Or it was just quoting a Nasi, to take it, we leave it unresolved. Gufa. What did we just say? Amr Rav Yosef, halach Reb Shimon HaNasi. So what happens to the funds? Returned to sender. What do you mean? We have the halacha, divrei shchimra, the words of a shchimra. We follow the Rabbanan shita, kiksuvin. We give it extra power, kiksuvin, kiksuvin, dami. You can't just ignore them. The shchivra's instructions are as good as done. It says, Levi already got it. How could he give it back to Reuven's family? How could Rav Yosef pass like Reb Shimon that it goes back to the Mishaleach? The answer is Rav Yosef Mukila Bibari. He learned the Mishnah, the Brisa, to be speaking about a healthy individual who's giving the gift, not a shchibra. Okay, so then we don't have this idea of divrei shchibra kiksum kiksum and dam. You need a regular kinyan, and there's no makabel to get it, so it goes back to the Mishaleach. What do you mean? V'al yoshem Mishaleach ka'amar. Says the Gemara, but the Brisa, Reb Shimon spoke about a case where the sender, Reuven, passed away as well, right? Rav Shimon says, I had a story, and I was told to give it back to the Yorshei Mishalech. Right? Yorshei Mishalech. There is no Mishalech, which means to say that Reuven is no longer alive. And the problem with that is that we have an established halacha, the mitzvah l'kayim divrei emes. So even though he made the tzivoy, even though he instructed when he was alive and well, but now that he passed away, we have to fulfill his wishes. Have to mekayim his dibur and give it to the recipient or the yarshim if the mekabel is no longer around. Says the Gemara, Tnei yachshul mishalech. Let's revise the brayso. Reb Shimon told over a story that happened with him. He was asked to deliver money. The recipient passed away, but the sender was still alive. So he sent it as a bari, and therefore there's no Indian of kiksuvin and kimsurin dummy. There's no receiver, it goes back to him. And number two, he's still alive and well today. Yachshul mishalech, and therefore there's no issue with mitzvah l'kayim divrei emes. Hadron lacha, maybe come on. Okay, let's quickly recap today's daf. We had the story with Rav transferring his spices to the other person. B'mamad shloshton, it's kana. We had the supposedly extra money discovered amongst one of the partner ginoim, the gardeners there. It turns out it wasn't really extra. He's not responsible for that. We have a shaila between Rav and Shmuel. Who's responsible for that money until it gets to the intended address? So both Rav and Shmuel hold that he's chay b'achrayis. The sender is. Can he be chayzer? Rav says no, he can't. Shmuel says he could. And the Gemara says perhaps everybody holds hoylech is kizachidami, but Shmuel holds still. Since I'm chay b'achrayis, I have a right to take it back. We had a story with Rav Sheshis getting his money back for his coats, and he complimented the shliach for not getting himself involved in extra commitments. A similar story with the silver vessel, with those scary people. We had a brayso which says, Hoylech mana l'pleini, and there's no recipient. What happens to the money? It goes back to the mishaleach. The other brayso says it goes to the yershim of the recipient. We have 4 ways to explain the discrepancy in the braysos. And we concluded with another brayso with many shittas. Initially, we figured it revolves around the question of how to deal with hoylech, is it kischi or not? Then we said no, perhaps it revolves around the question of what powers the chachamim granted to a shchimura. Was he like a regular person or got extra powers? And the maskana was, we pass like Rosh Shimon Hanasi, that it goes back to the sender, but we said it is compatible, it is consistent with the psak halacha, that divrei shchimra, kiksuvin u'ksurin dami, as well as the halacha of mitzvah l'kayim divrei emes. All the best to you and hatzlacha Rav always.